Hey again, girls. Welcome to the Thursday class. Today is going to be a little bit of a shorter video because we're only going to do one page. I know on the website I said we were going to do page 72 and 73, but I think it's too much to cover in one video and I want to do it in a clear way. So today we're only going to do page 72 here, okay, which is the start of Unit 9, okay? The topic is fame and the media. So what I'd like you guys to do is before you even look at your book, in your notebook, write a list of the alphabet, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, okay? A to Z in a vertical line, okay? Like we've done before in the past. Then I'm going to give you 4 or 5 minutes to write one word for each letter associated with fame and the media, okay? In case you're not really clear on what the media is, the media would be like paparazzi, the news, anybody that covers world events or celebrity events as well. And fame, I think you know what that is because it's similar to Spanish, okay? The action or the state of being famous, okay? So take 4 or 5 minutes and try to fill out the alphabet with different words related to fame and the media, okay? When you're finished with that, you can send that to me for homework so I can have a look, okay? When you're done with that, have a look at number 1 here, okay? It says media vocabulary. Which of these words and phrases do you associate with television and radio? Which do you associate with newspapers and magazines? And which 2 expressions are used in both? Okay, so we're going to just do this by speaking. So which words are associated with television and radio? Well, first, I want you to have a think about it before we do it together. So have a think, which ones are with television and radio? Which ones are with newspapers and magazines, and which 2 expressions can be used in both? You think first, and then we'll do it together orally, okay? So now that you're finished, I'm going to read all of the words, and I want you to copy my pronunciation and intonation, okay? So, broadcasting, circulation, commercials, episode, gossip column, illustrations, network, news items, print version, publication, remote control, satellite dish, tabloids, the headlines, the press. Okay, that's how you pronounce these words. And now we're going to talk about what categories they belong in. So for example, for television and radio, I have broadcasting, commercials, episode, network, remote control, and satellite dish. Okay. Newspaper and magazines, I have circulation, gossip column, illustrations, print version, publication, tabloids, and the press. And words that you can use for both are news items and the headlines. Okay, guys? So, my computer just turned off. Hang on just a second. So, okay. How many kinds of TV programs can you guys name in number 2? And which of these do you often watch? And which do you never watch? What kind of TV programs can you mention? So they have some examples like chat shows or reality TV shows. Do you know any others? For example, I'm a big nerd. I really like nature documentaries like Blue Planet, Human Planet, anything to do with nature. I'm there. I love it. It's so good. So for me, that's something that I really like, and I don't actually have a lot of time to watch them, but whenever I, like at the end of the day, I can just sit down and relax and really concentrate, that's when I watch them, but I really don't have time any other time. What kind of shows do you guys like to watch? Do you like shows like The Kardashians? I have to admit I have watched them sometimes because they're addictive and sometimes they're really funny, but probably not best material for your brain. be honest. I don't know, what other kind of shows are there? We were talking about, I don't know if we were talking about this the other day. There's a show in Spain called Equipo de Investigación, and I love that show. It's so good. I don't know if you guys like that or it's just because I'm not Spanish, so I think it's cool. I don't know, but it's so good. I feel like every episode nails it. They've got like really interesting topics, and you're just like, whoa, it's so good. Yeah, so that for me, that's the kind of stuff that I like to watch whenever I watch TV. What about you guys? Okay, what about number 3? What do these TV people do? Which job would you most like to do? So you've got different people in number 3. Okay, I'm gonna say the words again, and I want you to repeat the pronunciation and intonation. Okay, camera operator, editor, interviewer, investigative journalist, newsreader, news reporter, presenter, producer, script writer, and set designer. Okay, guys? So, what do you think these people do? Can you write them down? Write that down for me in your notebook. What do you think they do? And which job would you most like to do and why? I'll tell you for me, oh gosh, I don't really know because maybe interviewer, because it's just fun to, I guess, ask questions about people's lives and learn about people's lives. So I'd like to be an interviewer, I think. Okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to practice a listening. We're going to practice our listening skills for part 4 for the listening exam. Okay, I want you to look at the exam task instructions and answer the questions. So remember, this is really repetitive, so let's just go through it. It says number 1, what kind of extract will you hear? 2, who will you hear? And 3, what is the likely topic? So where is our exam task? It's over here. Over here, okay? You will hear part of a radio interview with Christy Ross, who works as a television presenter. For questions 1 to 7, choose the best answer, A, B, or C. Okay, so what kind of extract will you hear? An interview. Okay, it's quite obvious. Who will you hear? You will hear Kirsty or Christy Ross. I don't know how to pronounce her name. And what is the likely topic? She's a television presenter. You're probably gonna hear about her life and before she became a television presenter, how she became a television presenter, what the job is like, things like that. Okay, so what we have here are some tips. Just where it says quick steps to listening part 4, study the instructions and think about who and what you will hear. It's actually a really good idea. Try to think about the topic. Do you have any vocabulary already in your head about this topic? Do you have any instances, even in your own language, where you have been in contact with this topic of TV presenters and things like that? What do you think you're going to hear? Try to predict it in your head first. And when you get into that frame of mind, it's easier to do the listening because you're already concentrated on this topic. And the next one, quickly read the stem of each question and decide what kind of information you'll need to listen for. The stem is just like this unfinished sentence. You can't see. There, number 1. Before Kirsty became a television presenter, this is the stem. It's an unfinished sentence, okay? So don't look at the answers yet. Just look at the questions, okay? So before Kirsty became a television presenter, she was what? Okay, you're going to hear some type of job or activity that she does. Number 2, how did Kirsty learn about presenting before she first applied for work as a presenter? And what kind of information are you going to hear? What do you think? Number 3, what does Kirsty believe is her best skill? Number 4, Kirsty delivered the film of herself to the company. Number 5, how did Kirsty feel when the company invited her to do a test? 6, what did Kirsty find most difficult to learn to do? And 7, what, according to Kirsty, is the most important quality a presenter should have? Okay, so before you even look at the answers, try to think what you're going to hear. What are they going to say? Okay, after this, have a look at the answers And you can also in the answers, you can underline some words that you think are important as well. If you have time, but you don't need to look at the answers right away. The most important thing is the question, okay? Because that's what the information you're going to listen for when they're talking. All right, girls? So what we're going to do now is you can pause the video, have a look at the questions, underline important information in the questions, and if you want, have a look at the answers too. It's not going to hurt you. Just have a look at them and underline important words if you want. I really think it's the most important thing to underline important words in the question and know what the question is. Okay, so pause the video, take about 45 seconds to a minute to do that, and then we'll start the listening. Okay, so let's see. All right, now that you have paused the video and you've had a look at the questions, we are going to get started. So I'm only going to read this once, but you need to go back and listen to it again because in the exam you're allowed to hear it 2 times. Okay, are you girls ready? So you will hear part of a radio interview with Kirsty Ross, who works as a television presenter. For questions 1 to 7, choose the best answer, A, B, or C. Okay, so the interviewer says, now I have a guest whose voice will be familiar to many listeners, TV presenter Kirsty Ross. Good morning, Kirsty, and welcome to radio. Kirsty: good morning. To start off, why did you choose presenting as a career? Had you done media studies or something like that at university? Actually, I'd been working in entertainment ever since I left school. I was the keyboard player in a band. I was having loads of fun, but it wasn't leading anywhere. And what really fascinated me was television. I'd thought of trying acting and getting into TV that way, but I think I felt I wanted to be myself in front of the camera, and that's why I decided on presenting. And how did you manage to get into it? There must be thousands of people out there with the same ambition. Yes, I knew there would be a lot of competition for the few jobs going, and that just watching TV all day long and trying to imitate those doing the presenting wouldn't bring success. I looked at specialist courses for would-be presenters, but they were all too expensive. So instead, I spent 6 months doing work experience. It was a difficult time because, of course, I wasn't earning anything, but being right inside a major TV organization taught me a lot. What did you do after that finished? I made a short film of myself, about 3 minutes long, showing off what I felt to be my strongest points. What are they? People say I'm good at looking straight into the camera and talking, and I've always enjoyed getting into conversation with a live audience. But being able to ask guests the right questions and get good answers out of them is what I take most pride in. Although I'm probably awful as an interviewee, sitting here being asked all these questions is making me nervous. Anyway, in those days, people used to record their own films on video and post them to the production company. Did you do that? I was going to, but then I had this sudden fear about mail getting lost, and it was so important to me that I took it round to their office myself. Of course, if I were starting out these days, I'd send it electronically as an attachment, as everybody does now. And how did they respond? They asked me if I would go in for a test the next week. That must have been good news for you. Yes, you'd have thought I'd be delighted, wouldn't you? Though, actually, I'd been hoping that once they'd seen my film, I'd be offered a job straight away. So when I heard I'd have to go there and perform live in front of the bosses, I began to worry about what might go wrong. At the same time, though, I knew I could rise to the challenge, which I imagine you did. It went quite well, yes, though they made it clear I had to learn a lot before they'd actually put me in front of the live cameras. What kind of things? Well, they said I'd need to practice memorizing scripts, but of course I'd spent years learning music and lyrics off by heart, so I was just used to that kind of thing. What was trickier was knowing where you're supposed to be looking at any given point when you have the cameras either side of you and right in front. Fortunately, you get some guidance from the producer who's in touch with you through the earpiece, a small listening device that fits in your ear, so she can give you precise instructions while you're going out live. What would you say a presenter most needs to be able to do? Well, it helps a lot if you have a good working relationship with the others in the studio. The producer, the camera operators, the makeup people, everybody in fact. And on the other hand, it's good if you can work on your own, Googling the people you're going to interview, for instance, and the topics you'll be talking about. But none of this matters unless you and everybody around you knows that whatever happens, you won't panic. They have to be able to trust you to carry on as normal, even if something truly awful occurs. Has anything ever gone badly wrong while you were presenting live? Yes, it's happened recently. Last week, my guest suddenly walked out because, okay, so that is the listening. Please go back and listen a second time and then mark your answers for number 1 to 7 with A, B, or C. Okay? When you've done that, send that to me and I'll correct it. Okay, girls, well, this is the end of the video for today. You don't have any homework today because I gave you a lot on Tuesday, and I'm going to give you some more during the holiday next week. Okay? So any other questions, please contact me, and we won't see each other next week, but we'll see each other the week afterwards. Okay? Bye.